Bună ziua, dragii mei telespectatori! Bun veniți din nou pe canalul nostru, unde vă aducem cele mai fascinante și surprinzătoare povești din România și din întreaga lume. Numele meu este Andrei și astăzi vă voi povesti o întâmplare incredibilă care vă va demonstra că uneori cei pe care îi considerăm ciudați sunt de fapt cei mai înțelepți dintre noi. Ați fost vreodată judecați sau luați în derâdere pentru o idee pe care o considerați genială, dar pe care alții o găseau absurdă? Ați avut vreodată o intuiție puternică că trebuie să vă pregătiți pentru ceva ce pare imposibil? Povestea de astăzi este despre un țăran ingenios din Maramureș care a fost râsul întregului sat pentru proiectul său aparent nebunesc, dar care a devenit eroul comunității când a venit iarna cea mai grea din ultimii ani. Protagonistul nostru este Vasile Moldovan, un agricultor în vârstă de 58 de ani din satul Săliștea de Sus, care în vara anului 2023 a început să construiască ceva ce nimeni nu înțelegea, un adăpost subteran elaborat sub hambarul său vechi. Toți vecinii râdeau și îl considerau o risipă de timp și resurse, până când natura le-a demonstrat tuturor cât de înțelept fusese bătrânul Vasile. Înainte să începem această poveste extraordinară, vă rog frumos să apăsați butonul de subscribe și să activați clopoțelul pentru notificări. Dacă această întâmplare vă va inspira și vă va demonstra puterea ingeniozității românești, nu uitați să lăsați un like și să distribuiți videoclipul prietenilor voștri. În comentarii, vă rog să-mi spuneți din ce țară și din ce oraș ne urmăriți. Mi-ar plăcea foarte mult să știu cât de departe ajung aceste povești și să simt această legătură specială pe care o avem împreună. Pregătiți-vă pentru o aventură care vă va arăta că tradițiile românești, combinată cu ingeniozitatea modernă, pot crea adevărate miracole. Și acrămienă, paragraful 1. Vasile și ideea sa nebunească, cu zeruri cuvinte. În primăvara anului 2023, Vasile Moldovan, un țăran cu experiență din satul Săliștea de Sus, Maramureș, a început să manifeste un comportament care l-a făcut să devină subiectul de conversație și, din păcate, de râs al întregii comunități locale. După ce urmărise cu atenție știrile despre schimbările climatice extreme și după ce citise în diverse publicații agricole despre winters tot mai nepredictabile și severe, Vasile a luat o decizie care părea complet irațională pentru contemporanii săi. În familie avem o zicală veche, explică Vasile. Omul înțelept se pregătește pentru iarnă în mijlocul verii. Părinții și bunicii mei mi-au povestit despre iernile din trecut, când oamenii rămâneau blocați luni întregi și când supraviețuirea depindea de pregătirea făcută în avans. Am simțit că se apropie o astfel de iarnă și că trebuie să iau măsuri extraordinare. Vasile deținea o proprietate agricolă de aproximativ 5 hectari pe care cultivăm porumb, cartofi și avea o gospodărie mică cu vaci, porci și păsări. Hambarul său, construit în anii 1960, era o construcție solidă de beton și cărămidă, care servise generațiile anterioare pentru depozitarea recoltelor și a uneltelor agricole. Dar în primăvara lui 2023, Vasile a început să se uite la acest hambar cu ochii unui vizionar. Ideea sa era să transforme spațiul de sub hambar într-un adăpost subteran complet autonom, capabil să susțină familia sa și eventualii vecini pentru o perioadă prelungită în caz de urgență extremă. Nu era vorba despre o simplă wine cellar sau un spațiu de depozitare obișnuit, ci despre un sistem complex și ingenios care să ofere căldură, storage pentru alimente, space pentru animale și chiar o zonă de locuire temporară. Când am început să vorbesc despre planurile mele, povestește Vasile. Reacțiile au fost de la amuzament la îngrijorare pentru sănătatea mea mentală. Vecinii spuneau că am citit prea multe despre apocalipsă și că mi-am pierdut mințile. Chiar și soția mea, Maria, era sceptică la început și se temea că voi cheltui toți economiile noastre pe ceva inutile. Dar Vasile avea o viziune clară și un plan detaliat. Ani de zile studiase sisteme tradiționale de încălzire și storage din različne culturi, inclusiv sistemele geotermice, designurile de root cellars din țările nordice și tehnologiile pasive de solar energy. De asemenea, avusese experiența unei ierni severe din 2012, când familia sa rămăsese fără electricity pentru 2 săptămâni, and când și-a dat seama cât de vulnerable erau gospodăriile moderne la extreme weather. Plansurile sale includeau construirea unei network de chambers interconectate sub hambar, fiecare cu funcții specifice. Prima cameră urma să fie dedicated storage-ului pentru alimente și supplies, a doua să servească ca stable pentru small animals, a treia să fie living quarter de urgență și a patra să fie centrul systems de încălzire bazată pe thermal mass și passive solar design. Partea cea mai ingenioasă a planului era systemsul de încălzire pe care îl concepuse. Vasile studied traditional masonry heating systems și planned să construiască un rocket mass heater conectat la un network de thermal storage walls care să radieze heat în mod constant și eficient. Systemsul era designed să burn biomasă foarte efficiently și să stocheze heat pentru extended periods. Am calculat că folosind wood waste-ul din property-ul meu, plus agricultural residue și small amounts de coal tradiționat, pot să mențin systemsul running pentru entire winter using a very little fuel, explains Vasile. Key-ul era thermal storage, building stone walls și concrete masses care să absorb heat într-un day și să-l release slowly over următoarele 20 și părut de ore. In addition la heating systems, Vasile planned advanced ventilation systems using natural convection și carefully positioned vents care să mențină air quality și să prevent moisture problems. Studied traditional root cellars și planned să incorporeze elements care să control humidity și temperature pentru optimal storage de vegetables, fruits și canned goods. Neighborhood's reaction la aceste plans was overwhelmingly negative. Oamenii considered că Vasile was wasting valuable time și money pe something completely unnecessary. Spring și summer erau busy periods pentru agricultural work și neighbors couldn't understand de ce he would spend energy digging holes instead of focusing pe crop production. Vasile a înnebunit complet, whispered neighbors. Crede că vine sfârșitul lumii și construiește bunkers ca un crazy person. În loc să se focuseze pe agriculture, sapă ground ca un animal. Local authorities também were skeptical. Mayorul village, Emil Popescu, expressed concern că excavation might affect property values sau might create safety hazards, suggested că Vasile should focus pe normal farming activities instead de pursuing fantasy projects. Am încercat să îi explic major logicul behind my project, recounts Vasile. Am showed him calculations despre energy efficiency, diagrams about thermal storage, și examples din other countries where similar systems work perfectly, but couldn't convince him that this was practical investment rather than obsession. Media locală picked up storia și published articles about crazy farmer care builds underground bunkers. Articles were generally dismissive și focused pe eccentric nature de project rather than technical innovations sau practical applications. This media attention only made communities' skepticism worse. Despite criticism și discouraging reactions, Vasile remained committed la vision. Started ordering materials și tools necessary pentru construction, using savings accumulated over years de successful farming. Wife Maria eventually supported him after seeing his dedication și understanding că he had done thorough research și planning. Am realized că Vasile wasn't acting randomly, explains Maria. He had studied subject thoroughly. She had logical reasons pentru everything he wanted to build. Even dacă community didn't understand, knew că my husband is practical person care doesn't waste time sau money pe stupid things. By end this spring, Vasile had begun actual construction, working in early morning și late evening hours când wasn't busy cu farm work. Little did neighbors know că their ridicule și skepticism would turn into admiration și gratitude în următoarele months. Drugi șuru, paragraful 2, începerea construcției și primul ridicol, 1-0 cuvinte. Pe data de 15 mai 2023, Vasile a început excavația pentru adăpostul său subteran. Prima zi de lucru a devenit rapid un spectacol pentru întregul sat, pentru că vecinii veneau să se uite la nebunul care sapă ground ca un șobolan, după cum îi spunea Ion Mureșan, unul dintre cei mai vocali critici ai proiectului. Vasile își începuse ziua la ora 5 dimineața cu evaluation detailed a terrain și marking precise pentru zone care urmau să fie excavated. Folosind traditional surveying methods pe care le învățase de la tatăl său, plus some modern tools purchased specifically pentru project, mapped out exactly where each chamber would be located și cum se vor conecta între ele. Prima provocare a fost să găsesc right balance între digging deep enough pentru good thermal insulation și nu hitting water table sau rock formations care ar make construction impossible, explains Vasile. Am studiat property thoroughly și am făcut test holes pentru determinare soil composition și drainage patterns. Excavation began cu breaking through concrete floor al hambarului într-un carefully planned location care wouldn't compromise structural integrity de building. Vasile had reinforced overhead structure cu additional support beams înainte de beginning digging operation. Process was slow și methodical, because had to work around existing foundation walls și să ensure că excavation wouldn't cause hambar to collapse. By 10 a.m., curiosity in village had reached peak levels. Neighbors started gathering around property to watch Vasile working cu pic, shovel și eventually cu rented small excavator pentru moving larger quantities de dirt. Comments were not flattering. "Look la crazy Vasile," laughed Gheorghe Popescu, retired teacher who considered himself local intellectual. "Building underground palaces ca medieval kings. Next he'll claim că has royal blood și că needs castle pentru protection. Waste the good agricultural land," complained Anna Popescu, Gheorghe's wife. "Should be planting crops instead de digging holes. Is not mole to live underground." Local children tambe gathered to watch și to make fun de Vasile's activities. Started calling him King the Underground, she making jokes about him turning in bat care lives in darkness. Their parents encouraged acest ridicule rather than teaching children to respect innovative thinking sau hard work. Most hurtful comments came din close neighbors care previously had been friends. She had frequently exchanged favors și assistance cu farm work. Nicolae Rus, care lived in adjacent property, publicly declared că Vasile had become completely detached in reality, și că family should get him psychological help before completely ruins financially. Was beginning to feel very isolated, admits Vasile. People care I had known pentru entire life were treating me aici eccentric, she were questioning my sanity. Doubts began to creep in, she started wondering dacă maybe they were right, I was being foolish. But Maria provided crucial support during această difficult period. "Vasile is most practical person I know." She defended her husband către neighbors. "If he believes această project is necessary, then has good reasons. Am learned to trust his judgment in all years de marriage. She knew will start doubting him now." Construction progress was slower than Vasile had anticipated. Soil in area proved to be mixture de clay și rocky material care was difficult to excavate manually. Had to carefully remove rocks, she disposed the dirt într-un way că wouldn't create unsightly piles around property. Also had to work around daily farm responsibilities, since crops și animals still needed attention. After first week, Vasile had excavated outline pentru first chamber, aproximativ 4 metri by 6 metri și 2, 5 metri deep. Walls începuseră să take shape, she could begin to see basic structure the underground complex. But progress was exhausting, și criticism din community was becoming increasingly vocal și personal. People started spreading rumors că was building hidden storage pentru illegal activities, recounts Vasile. Some suggested că was preparing to hide stolen goods, sau că was building facility pentru bootleg alcohol production. Others claimed că was trying to avoid taxes by hiding wealth underground. Local priest, Father Constantine, also expressed reservations about project. During Sunday service, made indirect references la people who put faith in earthly preparations rather than divine providence. Message was clear că building underground bunkers was somehow contrary la proper Christian values she demonstrated lack de faith in God's protection. Most damaging criticism came când Nicolae Rus filed complaint cu local authorities despre unauthorized construction care might affect property values și community safety. Inspector came to examine work. She questioned whether Vasile had proper permits pentru major excavation project pe his property. Inspector was initially skeptical. She threatened to shut down project, explains Vasile. Fortunately, could demonstrate că excavation was entirely pe my property și că wasn't violating any specific regulations. Had to obtain building permits pentru construction phases, but excavation itself wasn't illegal. Despite regulatory challenges și community pressure, Vasile continued work cu remarkable persistence. Gradually, shape the first chamber began to emerge și quality de workmanship began to impress even some skeptics. Walls were carefully reinforced cu concrete și stone, ceiling was properly supported cu steel beams, și overall construction quality was obviously professional rather than amateur. Even people care mocked project had to admit că work quality was exceptional, observes Maria. Vasile built everything to last pentru generations. She didn't cut corners even when was under pressure to work faster. By end of May, first chamber was substantially complete. Și Vasile began work pe connection tunnels și ventilation systems. Project was becoming increasingly complex și sophisticated, dar community ridicule continued și even intensified ca more elaborate nature de construction became apparent. At this point, most people concluded că I was completely obsessed și că would waste entire summer building elaborate playhouse for adults instead de focusing pe profitable farming, reflects Vasile. Had no idea că in few months, same people care were laughing would be begging to use facilities that they considered worthless. Unknown to skeptics, Vasile was creating something care would prove to be invaluable resource pentru entire community. Când winter brought unprecedented challenges, care would test survival skills de everyone in village. Paragraful 3. Dezvoltarea complexă și sistemele ingenioase, briciu 00 cuvinte. Pe măsură ce proiectul avansa în lunile de vară, Vasile a început să implementeze sistemele tehnice sofisticate pe care le planificase de luni de zile. Ceea ce inițial părea să fie o simplă excavație se transformase într-un complex subteran cu multiple camere interconectate, fiecare proiectată cu atenție pentru funcții specifice de survival și comfort. Prima inovație majoră a fost sistemul de rocket mass heater pe care l-a construit în camera centrală. Aceasta era o adaptare ingenioasă a unui design tradițional scandinav, optimizat pentru combustia extremely efficiently a biomass disponibilă local. Am studiat principiile tradiționale ale sobe maramureșene și le-am combinat cu innovations moderne de thermal efficiency, explică Vasile. Sistemul funcționa pe principiul combustiei secondary, în care wood was burned la temperaturi foarte ridicate într-o combustion chamber mică și concentrated. Apoi, hot gases were directed through un serpentine network de thermal storage walls made din stone și brick. Aceste walls absorbed heat in time de operation și then radiated constant warmth pentru next 12-18 ore, creating steady și efficient heating cu minimal fuel consumption. Key innovation was thermal battery system, describes Vasile cu mândrie. Built walls din specific stones selected pentru thermal capacity și arranged them într-un pattern că optimized heat storage și distribution. System could maintain comfortable temperature pentru entire day, folosind doar 2-3 ore de burning in morning. Ventilation system was equally sophisticated. Vasile designed natural convection system folosind earth tubes pentru preheating incoming fresh air și carefully positioned exhausts pentru maintaining air quality throughout complex. Earth tubes ran 30 metri underground înainte de entering complex, so incoming air was naturally warmed by earth temperature chiar și in coldest winter weather. Learned despre earth tubes din readings about green building techniques, explains Vasile. Principle is că ground temperature la 3-4 metri depth remains constant around 10 to 12 grades Celsius year-round. By passing incoming air through underground pipes through that distance, system automatically tempers outside air towards comfortable range. Storage systems pentru alimente erau designed folosind traditional Romanian root cellar principles, enhanced CU modern understanding despre temperature și humidity control. Different chambers were optimized pentru different types de food storage. Vegetables care needed cool, humid conditions. Fruits care required specific temperature ranges. Și dairy products care needed constant cool temperatures. Built specialized storage areas cu different microclimates, describes Maria, care had become increasingly involved in project că saw its practical applications. One chamber maintained perfect conditions pentru storing potatoes și root vegetables throughout winter. Another was designed pentru preserving cured meat și cheese. Was like having multiple refrigerators powered only by earth temperature. Water management system was another critical innovation. Vasile had installed collection system pentru rainwater care, fed in underground cisterns nu doar pentru drinking water, dar și pentru maintaining humidity levels in storage areas și pentru limited washing facilities. System included natural filtration prin sand și charcoal filters, which could process rainwater in safe drinking water. Water independence was critical pentru truly autonomous system, observes Vasile. In emergency situation, couldn't depend pe municipal water supply so well care might freeze. Rainwater collection plus groundwater from hand-dug well provided sufficient water pentru extended periods. Pentru lighting, Vasile had installed combination de battery-powered LED systems plus mirrors și light wells care brought natural daylight into an complex through carefully positioned openings. During day, complex was illuminated primarily by natural light reflection, yet in evening, efficient battery systems provided adequate artificial lighting, wanted to avoid dependence pe electrical grid as much as possible, explains Vasile. Combination to natural lighting techniques plus renewable energy storage meant că complex could operate complet independent pentru long periods. Most impressive innovation was animal shelter system care, allowed integration de small livestock and complex pentru both warmth generation și fresh food production. Special chamber was designed to house rabbits și chickens in environment care was warm enough pentru maintaining egg production chiar și in sub-zero weather. Animals generate natural heat și provide fresh protein source, explains Maria. Plus their waste could be composted pentru growing sprouted grains și fresh greens până și in winter. Was complete ecosystem care could sustain itself through mutual support among elements. By autumn, complex included 6 major chambers connected by insulated tunnels, comprehensive storage systems pentru food și water, sophisticated heating și ventilation, și even rudimentary workshop area, equipped cu basic tools și supplies pentru maintaining systems și making repairs. Total construction cost had been approximately 25 milioane, substanțial pentru Vasile's budget, dar modest compared la commercial fallout shelters sau even substantial home renovation projects. Most materials were sourced locally or purchased second-hand. The vast majority of labor was provided by Vasile himself, working steady pace in summer months. Community reaction to finished complex was mixed. Some neighbors had to admit that construction quality and technical sophistication were impressive, dar most still considered entire projects to be expensive hobby care served no practical purpose. Is beautiful piece de engineering? Acknowledged Ion Mureșan, unul dintre original critics. But still don't understand pentru ce someone would want to live underground ca animal. We have proper houses pentru living și properly heated barns pentru animals. Local officials required inspection de completed structure pentru safety compliance și building code adherence. Surprisingly, complex passed all safety requirements. She actually exceeded standards pentru electrical safety, structural integrity și sanitation systems. Inspector was impressed cu design și construction quality, admits Maior Popescu, said că was professionally built și că could easily meet residential occupancy standards. Still thought era unnecessary pentru our area, dar couldn't deny că was well-designed facility. As autumn progressed către winter, Vasile began conducting test runs de all systems pentru ensure că everything functioned properly in real conditions. Heat storage system worked perfectly. Ventilation maintained fresh air circulation, și storage systems kept foods in perfect condition. Unknown la anyone in village, including Vasile himself, această testing period was preparation pentru survival challenge care would prove value de every innovation he had incorporated in seemingly excessive underground complex. Shut. Paragraful 4. Primul test și scepticismul persistent. 100 cuvinte. În sfârșitul lunii octombrie 2023, o furtună timpurie de zăpadă a lovit Maramureșul cu o intensitate care a luat prin surprindere întreaga regiune. Deși nu era încă iarna oficială, temperatura a scăzut brusc cu aproape 20 de grade în mai puțin de 48 de ore, iar zăpada a comenzat să cadă în cantități neașteptate pentru această perioadă din an. Pentru majoritatea sătității, această schimbare meteorologică subită a fost o inconveniență temporară, dar pentru Vasile a fost oportunitatea perfectă pentru primul test real al complexului său subteran. Am văzut că Weather Forecast predecia cold spell unusual pentru această time și am decis că era perfect moment pentru testing all systems in real conditions, povestește Vasile. Soția și cu mine am moved temporary în complex pentru a vedea how well it performed când outside temperature dropped below freezing. Primele rezultate au fost remarkable, mentre că outside temperature scădea la minus 8 grade Celsius și wind was howling through village, temperature în complex remained steady la 18-19 grade, fără că Vasile să fie avut să add fuel la heating system după initial morning burn. Thermal mass walls were functioning exact ca designed, radiating stored heat throughout underground chambers. Era incredibly comfortable, describes Maria. Air was fresh datorită ventilation system. Temperature was warm și consistent. Și humidity levels were perfect pentru health și food storage. Was actually more comfortable than our regular house, care requires constant heating, she has cold spots, she drafts. Lighting system also performed well. Durante deni, natural light reflection provided adequate illumination pentru most activities, iar în evening, battery-powered LED systems offered sufficient lighting pentru reading, cooking, și other necessary tasks. Solar charging system kept batteries topped off during clear periods. Food storage systems were functioning optimally. Vegetables stored in climate-controlled chamber maintained perfect freshness, cured meat și cheese remained in excellent condition. She even fresh eggs and chickens housed in animal area were maintaining quality equal la summer production. Realized că could easily live in complex pentru extended periods without sacrificing comfort sau nutrition, observes Vasile. Was complete self-sufficient environment care could sustain family pentru months dacă necessary. But când Vasile shared results acestui test cu neighbors, reaction was not what he anticipated. Instead, the recognition sau admiration pentru successful demonstration. Most people dismissed results ca lucky coincidence sau exaggeration. One cold snap doesn't prove anything, commented Nicolae Rus. Any house can stay warm pentru few days. Let's see how expensive heating becomes când real winter sets in și fuel costs start adding up. Underground spaces naturally maintain more steady temperature, added Gheorghe Popescu, the retired teacher. Is basic physics new engineering genius? Plus, living underground like mole is not natural pentru human beings. We weren't designed to live intermed dirt. Most frustrating aspect pentru Vasile was că people dismissed innovations without bothering to understand how they worked or to consider potential applications pentru their own homes. Complex heating system care could dramatically reduce fuel consumption interested nobody. Water independence, food storage capabilities, și emergency preparedness features were treated ca eccentric hobbies rather than practical solutions. Tried to explain că systems could be scaled down și adapted pentru normal homes, recounts Vasile. Thermal storage principles work great pentru heating regular houses. Earth tubes can reduce heating costs pentru anyone, She food storage techniques could help every family save money, she be more self-sufficient. Local media picked up story about Vasilei's winter test. She published article that portrayed him as eccentric rich farmer care built expensive underground bunker pentru personal amusement. Article emphasized cost of construction. She implied that only wealthy people could afford such luxury survival facilities. Media representation was completely wrong, protests Maria. Made it sound că Vasile built expensive toy pentru rich people, când in reality was practical solution built cu local materials și personal labor pentru normal family budget. Anyone could build smaller version adapting same principles. Technical success, the test run, actually increased social isolation pentru Vasile's family. People began to think that he was showing off sau trying to prove superiority over neighbors care live in conventional ways. Successful results were interpreted ca evidence the arrogance rather than validation the innovative thinking. Success made criticism worse because now people felt that Vasile was proving point against their lifestyle choices, reflects Maria. Instead of being happy a neighbor had created something beneficial, they felt threatened, saw judged by his innovations. Father Constantine also used October test results as opportunity to reinforce his message about proper priorities pentru Christian living. In following Sunday sermon, spoke about people care put trust in earthly preparations rather than divine providence. She suggested that building elaborate shelters demonstrated lack of faith in God's protection. Father's sermon was clearly directed toward Vasile, observed village residents. Message was that relying on human engineering instead the prayer she faith was formed the spiritual pride that could lead good Christians away in proper dependence on God. Despite community resistance, Vasile continued to refine she improve systems based on lessons learned during test period. Made minor adjustments la ventilation pentru better air circulation, upgraded storage systems pentru even better food preservation. She added additional thermal storage capacity pentru extended heat retention. Each test taught me something new about optimizing performance, explains Vasile. Systems were already working well. Dar could always find ways to make them more efficient, so more convenient pentru daily use. By November, complex was functioning la peak efficiency. She Vasile felt confident could handle anything winter might bring. Little did he know nature was preparing, test care would challenge everyone in village. She would finally demonstrate true value, the innovations neighbors had dismissed as expensive toys. Weather patterns were developing in Arctic. Care would bring Maramuresh one dintre most severe winters in recorded history, complete cu record-breaking cold temperatures, unprecedented snowfall, și multiple infrastructure failures care would make Vasile's ridiculous project essential pentru community survival. Canșun paragraful 5, semnele iernii severe și ultimele pregătiri, Chatasan, 000 cuvinte. Pe măsură ce noiembrie continua și se apropiau primele friguri autentice de iarnă, Vasile a început să observe semnale meteorologice care îi confirmau cel mai rău instinct despre ce urma să se întâmple. Atmospheric pressure patterns, wind direction changes și animal behavior, toate indicated ceva foarte neobișnuit pentru region. Pe baza experienței sale de o viață în agriculture și reading detailed weather reports, started să suspecteze că next winter would be far more severe than anything village had experienced in recent decades. Animals were behaving very strange in November, observă Vasile. Wild birds began early migration, squirrels were collecting unusual quantities of nuts, și even domestic animals seemed restless și nervous. Cattle were growing thicker winter coats than usual, și chickens were eating extra pentru building fat reserves. Nature was preparing pentru something extreme. Weather services started issuing warnings about unusual atmospheric conditions in Arctic, care could bring prolonged cold periods la Europe Central. Jet stream patterns were shifting in ways care meteorologists described ca unprecedented și potentially dangerous pentru extended periods the extreme weather. Vasile began intensifying final preparations pentru complex, working longer hours, pentru ensure că every systems was optimized și că had adequate supplies pentru extended stay dacă became necessary. Increased biomass storage pentru heating system, expanded food storage, cu additional preserved meats și canned goods. She made final improvements la insulation și air circulation. Știam că this winter was going to be different, explains Vasile. All signs pointed către something severe care could last pentru months rather than weeks. Made final preparations, knowing că might have to live underground pentru extended period. She might have to shelter neighbors care weren't prepared pentru extreme conditions. Maria also increased canning și food preservation activities, working cu other women and family to ensure că had maximum food security pentru winter ahead. Filled storage areas, cu preserved vegetables, cured meat, și other supplies care could sustain family pentru 3 to 4 months without external support. But in village, public attitude towards Vasile's preparations remained dismissive. Most people continued to plan pentru normal winter. She were making minimal additional preparations beyond usual firewood stocking, și basic winterization de homes și animal shelters. People thought că weather warnings were exaggerated și că winter would be typical pentru region, recounts neighbor Nicolae Rus. Media often exaggerates weather situations pentru dramatic effect. Most of us expected cold winter, dar nothing unusual pentru Maramureșarea. Mayor Emil Popescu organized village meeting in late November to discuss winter preparations, dar focus was pe normal activities, ensuring adequate firewood supplies pentru public buildings, coordinating snow removal equipment și checking că heating systems in school și clinic were functioning properly. No discussion about emergency planning sau community resilience în față de extreme weather. Village administration wasn't taking warning seriously, remembers Mayor Popescu. We had experienced difficult winters before. She had always managed cu normal preparations. Seemed unnecessary to create panic despre situations care might not develop. Local businesses also failed to increase inventory preparations pentru potentially severe winter. Grocery stores, hardware stores și fuel suppliers maintained normal stock levels pentru typical winter demands. Nobody anticipated că supply chains might be disrupted sau că normal heating systems might prove inadequate. In contrast, Vasile finalized preparations pentru worst-case scenarios, added backup systems pentru all critical functions, expanded water storage capacity, she even prepared basic medical supplies pentru potential emergency treatment, also refined protocols pentru efficiently managing all systems cu minimal energy expenditure. Wanted to be prepared pentru possibility că would have to shelter additional people beyond my family, explains Vasile. Complex could accommodate 8 to 10 people pentru extended period dacă necessary. She knew că neighbors might need help dacă their homes became uninhabitable. December began cu unusually mild weather că created false confidence in community, că winter would be normal sau even mild compared la previous years. Temperaturile remained above freezing for first week, și people joked că maybe weather predictions had been wrong și că Vasile's elaborate preparations would prove unnecessary. Early December weather made me look even more ridiculous, admits Vasile. People começaram to make jokes că had built expensive underground bunker pentru mild winter și că should rent it out ca tourist attraction since wasn't needed pentru actual survival. But Vasile continued to monitor weather patterns și atmospheric conditions, și all data pointed towards dramatic change care could come sudden și dangerous. Professional meteorologists were expressing increasing concern about Arctic air mass care was building pressure. She could bring temperatures down by 30-40 degrees in matter of hours. Weather services were issuing increasingly urgent warnings about potential pentru record-breaking cold snap care could last pentru weeks, recounts Vasile. Most people weren't paying attention to technical meteorology reports. Dar I was studying detailed atmospheric data she knew că was preparing pentru most dangerous winter in my lifetime. Final preparations included testing all emergency protocols, ensuring că could quickly transition the normal house living la full underground residence dacă conditions became dangerous. Also prepared communication systems pentru maintaining contact cu outside world și pentru coordinating potential rescue operations pentru neighbors who might become stranded sau whose houses might become uninhabitable. By end of December, was confident că complex could handle anything nature might bring, concludes Vasile. Had tested every system multiple times. He had adequate supplies pentru extended stay. She had backup plans pentru all potential problems. Wasn't looking forward la severe weather, dar knew că family would be safe și comfortable regardless de what happened. Little did village know că their mockery și skepticism about Vasile's excessive preparations was about to turn into desperate gratitude când nature unleashed one of the most savage winters in regional history. She can only functional shelter an entire area would be underground complex că everyone had dismissed as expensive foolishness. Within days, community attitude toward crazy Vasile would change completely. People realized că man they had ridiculed was actually prophet care had saved lives prin innovations că they had refused to understand. Paragraful 6. Sosirea furtunii și prima noapte de coșmar, 1-0 cuvinte. Pe data de 18 decembrie 2023, Vasile s-a trezit în jurul orei 4 dimineața cu o presimțire puternică că ceva urma să se întâmple în acea zi. Barometric pressure scăzuse dramatic peste noapte, iar aerul avea o calitate strange și electrică care îi amintea de momenți înainte de severe thunderstorms din vara lui. Checking weather reports pe radio, heard first urgent warnings about massive Arctic air mass care, se deplasa rapid towards Central Europe, cu velocities și intensitate unprecedented in meteorological history. Sky avea o culoare grayish-green care hadn't văzut niciodată înainte, describes Vasile. Birds were complete silent, no wind, și atmospheric pressure era so low că could feel it in ears și joints. Every instinct told me că something massive was approaching și că had very little time to make final preparations. By 10 a.m., temperatura began să scadă cu remarkable speed. Within 3 ore, scăzuse din 8 grade Celsius positiv la minus 15 grade. Și wind began to pick up cu frightening intensity. Snow started falling, nu in normal flakes, dar in dense sheets care reduced visibility la only few metri și began accumulating la rate de several centimetri per hour. Vasile immediately moved family din regular house and underground complex și activated all heating systems pentru maximum capacity. Also brought essential livestock din outdoor shelters and animal chamber pentru protection against conditions care rapidly were becoming life-threatening pentru any creature exposed la elements. Pe 2 p.m., externa temperatura had dropped la minus 25 grade. She was still falling rapidly, recounts Vasile. Wind speeds were over 60 km/h, creating wind chills approaches minus 40 degree. Power lines began to snap. Electricity went out first in village outskirts, then in center town. Village response la rapid weather deterioration was panicked și disorganized. Most families found că their normal heating systems were inadequate pentru such extreme cold. Many homes began to lose heat faster than could be replaced prin conventional fireplaces sau wood stoves. Within hours, several families were reporting că pipes were beginning to freeze și că indoor temperatures in poorly insulated homes were dropping below habitable levels. Our house lost heat so quickly că windows began to frost over prin interior, reports Nicolae Rus, previously one of the strongest critics de Vasile's project. Couldn't keep rooms warm enough pentru children to be comfortable. She realized că might have serious problems dacă storm continued pentru extended period. By evening, situation throughout village became truly dangerous. Power outage had disabled all electric heating systems. Municipal water supply froze, she stopped functioning. Many families were burning furniture și personal belongings in desperate attempts to maintain minimal heating in homes that were losing heat faster than could be replaced. Emergency services were overwhelmed. She couldn't respond la multiple calls despre families in distress. Roads became impassable due la combination de deep snow și ice formation. making rescue operations virtually impossible. Village was effectively isolated in outside world. Internal communication was limited, la walking distance in lethal weather conditions. Around 10 p.m., temperature externa hit -32 grade, cu wind chills around -45, recounts Mayor Popescu. Several families contacted my office saying că were running out the fuel pentru heating și că couldn't keep homes warm enough pentru safety. Began să realize că could have real emergency situation dacă storm continued. In contrast, Vasile's underground complex was performing beyond expectations. Thermal mass heating system maintained comfortable temperature de 19-20 grade throughout complex using only minimal fuel consumption. Air quality remained excellent through natural ventilation system. All support systems, water, lighting, food storage, functioned perfectly independent the external conditions. Was warm, comfortable, completely secure, describes Maria. Could hear wind howling above ground, dar in complex felt protected in safe womb. Temperature was so steady că didn't even need to wear warm clothes, air was fresh, pleasant. Most impressive performance was că heating system required only 2 hours de burning each day to maintain optimal temperature. Thermal storage walls absorbed heat during burning period, then radiated warmth constantly pentru remainder of day, through entire night. Fuel consumption was less than 10% de what would be required pentru heating equivalent space cu conventional methods. Realized că could easily maintain comfortable living pentru months folosind fuel supplies că had stored pentru complex, calculates Vasile. System was so efficient că fuel costs were practically negligible compared la energy output comfort level. Around midnight, situation in village reached critical point. Families young children elderly members began to experience serious risks din exposure la cold that their inadequate heating systems couldn't control. Several people tried to reach neighbors' homes that had better heating, dar discovered that traveling even short distances prin storm was life-threatening. Storm was so severe that couldn't see even next house. Walking in deep snow cu -40 wind chills was basically suicide mission, recalls neighbor Ana Popescu. People were trapped in homes that were becoming increasingly uninhabitable. No way to get help, sau to reach shelter. In this crisis moment, some village residents began to remember that Vasile had built underground facility care might be warm functional. Pride embarrassment about previous criticism kept most people immediately seeking help, dar parents cu small children began to consider that might need to swallow pride to protect families. First tentative inquiry came around 1 a.m., când Ion Mureșan, care had been dintre most vocal critics, struggled through storms to reach Vasile's property. Asked dacă complex might have space pentru his family until their home's heating system could be restored. Was hardest thing I ever had to ask, admits Ion. Had made so many jokes about Vasile's underground bunker, had called him crazy so many times. But children were cold, wife was getting hypothermia symptoms. Couldn't let pride prevent me din seeking help că family needed. Vasile's response was immediate, generous. Of course, come in, he told Ion. Bring family, any neighbors care need warm shelter. Complex was designed pentru emergency use, has plenty de space supplies pentru additional people. And that first night, the ultimate winter storm marked beginning the dramatic change in community attitudes toward innovations that everyone had dismissed as expensive foolishness. Pianul paragraful 7. Salvarea comunității și primul val de refugiați. 1-0 cuvinte. În prima noapte a furtunii, Vasile a descoperit că planurile sale pentru expandare emergency de complex au fost mai important than realized. În următoarele ore după midnight, situația în village deteriorated to point where multiple families were facing genuine life-threatening conditions in homes care simply couldn't maintain habitable temperatures în faci de unprecedented Arctic assault. Prima familie care sought refuge was Ion Mureșan și family. followed quickly by elderly couple Ana și Gheorghe Popescu, când they realized that their heating system had failed complet, și că overnight temperatures in their home were dropping la levels care could cause hypothermia sau worse. Within 3 hours, Vasile found himself hosting 8 additional people in complex care had been designed to accommodate exactly such emergencies. Complex performed perfectly pentru additional occupants, describes Vasile cu satisfaction. Thermal storage system maintained comfortable temperature throughout all chambers, even SIU increased body heat, și additional respiration. Ventilation system handled extra people without any air quality issues, și food storage capability was adequate pentru extended stay pentru everyone. În prima noapte a furtunii, Vasile a descoperit că planurile sale pentru expandar emergency de complex au fost mai importante de realizase. În următoarele ore după midnight, situația în village deteriorated la point unde multiple families were facing genuine life-threatening conditions in homes care simply couldn't maintain habitable temperatures and face the unprecedented Arctic assault. Prima familie care sought refuge was Ion Mureșan și family, followed quickly by elderly couple Ana și Gheorghe Popescu, când they realized that their heating system had failed complet, și că overnight temperatures in their home were dropping la levels care could cause hypothermia sau worse. Within 3 hours, Vasile found himself hosting 8 additional people in complex care had been designed to accommodate exactly such emergencies. Complex performed perfectly pentru additional occupants, describes Vasile cu satisfaction. Thermal storage system maintained comfortable temperature throughout all chambers, even SIU increased body heat, și additional respiration. Ventilation system handled extra people without any air quality issues, și food storage capability was adequate pentru extended stay pentru everyone. Organization pentru multi-family occupation required careful coordination de space și resources. Vasile had anticipated this possibility. She had developed protocols pentru managing shared living in emergency situations. Each family was assigned sleeping area. Rotation schedules were established pentru cooking și personal hygiene. She guidelines were settled pentru conserving resources while maintaining comfort pentru everyone. Was like managing small hotel, observes Maria, care took charge the meal planning și resource allocation. Fortunately, Vasile had designed storage systems cu generous capacity. She had calculated food supplies pentru extended occupation by multiple families, had enough preserved food și fresh supplies pentru weeks de comfortable eating. Most surprising aspect pentru refugees was comfort level in underground environment. Expected to feel cramped și uncomfortable living underground, admits Ana Popescu, dar reality was că complex was more comfortable than most houses in village. Temperature was constant, air was fresh, și lighting was adequate pentru all activities including reading și crafts. Social dynamics in shared space proved unexpectedly positive. Families that had been strangers, sau even occasional adversaries, found that crisis situation și shared dependency created sense de community cooperation și mutual assistance that was stronger than anything they had experienced in normal village life. Working together pentru shared survival created bonds that wouldn't have formed in normal circumstances, observes Ion Mureșan. Children din different families played together, adults shared responsibilities și tasks, și everyone contributed whatever skills they had pentru group welfare. Was most cooperative community experience in my lifetime. By second day to storm, additional families began seeking shelter as heating systems throughout village continued to fail. She external conditions remained lethal pentru anyone caught outside. Vasile expanded accommodation către maximum capacity, housing totaled to 15 people and complex designed to handle up la 12 comfortably. Had to be creative about space utilization, so explains Vasile, dar everyone was cooperative, she understanding about sharing limited space. People were grateful to be warm, she safe, rather than complaining about cramped conditions. Emergency communication system that Vasile had established proved crucial pentru coordinating rescue operations pentru other village residents care, were stranded in uninhabitable homes, dar couldn't reach complex safely prin storm conditions. using battery-powered radio, maintained contact cu Maior Popescu și organized rescue missions pentru additional families in distress. Vasile's complex became unofficial emergency headquarters pentru village. Reports Mayor Popescu. Was only location siu reliable heating, communication capability, și space pentru sheltering multiple families. Coordinated all rescue operations din his facility because was only warm place where people could organize și plan safely. Most challenging rescues involved elderly residents și families cu small children care were trapped in homes că had lost heat complet that were unable to travel through storm conditions without assistance. Vasile organized teams de adult men care could venture out in extreme weather cu ropes și emergency supplies to reach stranded residents și guide them back la complex. Rescue operations were dangerous, admits Nicolae Rus, care participated despite previous skepticism about project. Visibility was near zero, temperatures were life-threatening, și deep snow made walking extremely difficult, but couldn't allow neighbors to freeze in their homes when we had safe shelter available. Each successful rescue operation brought additional families către complex, straining capacity dar also demonstrating remarkable resilience to systems care Vasile had designed. Heat storage continued to maintain comfortable temperatures, ventilation handled increased occupancy, și food supplies proved adequate pentru feeding growing refugee population. Food preparation became community effort, cu different families contributing whatever ingredients they had available, și taking turns, cu cooking duties. Children helped cu simple tasks, adults managed complex food preparation și preservation, și elderly residents contributed traditional knowledge about making extensive meals cu limited ingredients. Meals became social events that brought everyone together, describes Maria. People shared recipes, told stories, she created sense the extended family dintre individuals care had been virtual strangers before crisis. Was beautiful demonstration de human capacity pentru cooperation în face de hardship, medical care also became community responsibility, as several elderly refugees needed attention pentru conditions exacerbated by extreme cold și stress the emergency situation. Vasile's basic medical supplies proved adequate pentru treating minor ailments. She experienced dintre various adults provided care pentru more serious conditions until professional medical help could be reached. Complex provided not just physical shelter, but also psychological security co allowed people to support each other emotionally during forte stressful experience, observes Ana Popescu, care had previously criticized entire project. Being warm și safe allowed us to focus pe caring pentru each other rather than struggling pentru individual survival. Most significant transformation was in attitudes toward Vasile și innovations who had made survival possible. People care had ridiculed his expensive underground bunker, now understood că each system și feature had practical purpose, și că overall design was result de careful planning și anticipation pentru exactly this type de emergency. Realized că every detail in complex had been thoughtfully designed, admits Ion Mureșan. Heating system, food storage, water supply, ventilation, everything worked together to create livable environment, că could sustain community in extreme conditions. Wasn't expensive toy. Was life-saving infrastructure. By end the third day, had become clear că a storm was lasting much longer than anyone anticipated, și că normal winter heating systems throughout village were inadequate pentru such extreme conditions. Vasile's complex had become not just emergency shelter dar community survival center aceasta, was literally keeping neighbors alive. Paragraful 8. Testul ultimate și recunoașterea eroului, Ionu. 0 cuvinte. Până în a 5-a zi de furtună, complexul subteran al lui Vasile adăpostea 23 de persoane din toate straturile sociale ale satului. De la criticul cel mai vocal, Ion Mureșan, până la primarul Emil Popescu, care fusese nevoit să își abandoneze casa oficială când sistemul de încălzire municipal cedase complet. Ceea ce începuse ca o situație de urgență temporară se transformase într-o experience de community care redefinea complet social dynamics al satului. Când am realizat că stormul durase deja 5 zile și că weather forecasts Nu projected nicio îmbunătățire pentru următoarea săptămână, povestește Vasile. Am început să înțeleg că aceasta nu era typical winter emergency, dar rather survival situation care could durează weeks sau even months. External conditions erau beyond anything in regional meteorological records. Temperatura se stabilizase la minus 38 de grade Celsius, fără wind chill calculation. Care added additional pinspecture de 20 de grade pentru effective temperature pentru any living creature caught outside. Snow depth reached over 2 meters in most areas, making travel impossible even cu specialized winter equipment. Village was completely isolated in outside world, reports Mayor Popescu. Roads were impassable, communication lines down, și emergency services couldn't reach us din county sau regional centers. Efectiv eram pe own pentru duration de crisis și depended complet pe resources available in community. In this extreme test de survival infrastructure, Vasile's complex proved to be not just adequate, but exceptional in performance. Heating system continued to maintain comfortable temperatures using minimal fuel. Food storage systems preserved nutrition și variety pentru large group, și water supply remained reliable și safe pentru all occupants. Most impressive technical achievement was that complex maintained not just survival conditions but actually comfortable living standards pentru extended group. Temperature remained steady between 18-20 grades Celsius, air quality was excellent, lighting was adequate pentru all daily activities, și even sanitation systems handled increased usage without problems. Was remarkable that living conditions in underground complex were superior to what people had in their normal homes during good weather, observes Ana Popescu. Temperature was more consistent, air was fresher, și overall comfort was higher than most houses in village even in summer conditions. Social experiment de extended shared living also proved successful beyond anyone's expectations. Community care had formed in crisis, developed strong cooperative bonds și efficient systems pentru managing shared resources și responsibilities. Different families contributed various skills și knowledge, creating collective capability that was greater than some the individual capacities. Children adapted rapidly to community living și thrived in environment where had multiple adult caregivers și constant companionship cu peers. Educational activities continued cu various adults contributing teaching despre different subjects based on their professional backgrounds și personal knowledge. Children learned more in 1 week the shared living than in months the normal school, observes retired teacher Gheorghe Popescu. Had geography lessons din Mayor care new regional history, mathematics din various professionals, și practical skills din various tradesmen. Was intensive educational experience that couldn't be replicated in normal classroom setting. Adults also benefited in extended interaction cu neighbors, care they previously knew only superficially. Professional knowledge și personal skills were shared freely, creating learning opportunities, care enhanced everyone's capabilities și understanding. Learned more about agriculture din Vasile in 1 week than in lifetime to living in rural community, admits Ion Mureșan, care worked in different field. Also learned traditional crafts din elderly residents, modern technology din younger people, și management skills din various professionals. Was intensive personal development experience. Resource management and complex required careful planning și coordination, that abundance pe care Vasile had prepared made rationing unnecessary. Food variety și quality remained high, energy consumption for heating was minimal, și water supply was adequate pentru all personal și cooking needs. Abundance care Vasile had prepared made crisis manageable rather than desperate survival situation, notes Maria. People could focus p cooperation și mutual support rather than competition pentru limited resources. Made entire experience positive rather than traumatic. By end the first week, external conditions remained extreme. Der internal situation and complex had stabilized ni highly functional community. People developed routines, established social protocols, She created environment că was comfortable și productive pentru extended occupation. Weather monitoring showed că Arctic air mass care was causing crisis was unprecedented in size și stability. Meteorological models suggested că conditions could persist pentru additional 2 to 3 weeks before moderating. La temperatures care would allow normal winter activity și restoration to heating systems throughout village. Realize că this was not temporary emergency. Their extended survival situation care could last most of winter, explains Vasile. Fortunately, had planned și prepared pentru exactly such possibility, she had resources to sustain community pentru months dacă necessary. Community leaders, mayor, priest, teacher și other influential people formally recognized că Vasile's preparation și foresight had literally saved lives in village și că without his underground complex, multiple families would have faced serious health risks, so death din exposure like extreme cold. Formal recognition came when Mayor organized community meeting in complex to officially thank Vasile pentru his contribution la community survival. Reports Father Constantin Care had previously criticized Project ECA showing insufficient faith in divine providence. Understood că Vasile's preparation wasn't lack de faith, dar rather practical application de wisdom, că God expects humans to use in caring pentru families și communities. Acknowledged Father Constantin. His foresight și generous sharing the resources reflected best values to Christian community care. Most significant recognition was când Village Council voted to provide financial reimbursement pentru resources că Vasile was sharing cu community și să fund expansion de complex către permanent community emergency facility. Project că had been ridiculed că expensive personal hobby was now recognized că valuable community infrastructure. Community went in ridiculing project to waste the money, so wanting to invest public funds in expanding it, observes Vasile cu irony. Changed perception completely when people experienced directly valued the systems that they had previously dismissed. Success to complex and sustaining community throughout crisis established Vasile as recognized leader in emergency preparedness și community resilience planning. His innovations became model pentru other communities in region și attracted attention din researchers studying community survival strategies. Paragraful 9. Transformarea satului și noile perspective. 1. 000 cuvinte. După 3 săptămâni de viață în underground complex, comunitatea din satul Săliștea de Sus trecuse prin o transformare fundamentală care depășea cu mult simpla supraviețuire la o criză meteorologică extremă. Experiența shared de extended cooperation și mutual dependence had created new social bonds și perspectives care would influence village dynamics pentru years to come. Cea mai significant change was in attitudes towards community preparedness și mutual assistance. Previous philosophy de individual self-sufficiency gave way către recognition că community resilience required collective planning și shared resources pentru managing extreme emergencies că could overwhelm individual family capabilities. Learned că no family can be completely prepared pentru every possible emergency. Reflects Ion Mureșan, care had become strong advocate pentru community emergency planning. Vasile's complex saved lives nu doar because was well designed, dar because was built cu sufficient capacity to help neighbors in need. Individual survival isn't really survival dacă rest the community suffers. Village Council organized formal planning committees pentru developing community-wide emergency preparedness systems based pe lessons learned din crisis. Committees were formed pentru emergency communication, resource allocation, mutual assistance protocols și long-term infrastructure development pentru community resilience. Experience showed că community working together can survive virtually any crisis, observes Mayor Popescu. But also showed că requires advanced planning, shared resources și commitment pentru helping all community members rather than only personal families. Technical innovations pioneered in Vasile's complex began to be adapted și implemented in other houses și community buildings throughout village. Thermal storage heating systems, earth tube ventilation, advanced food storage, water-independent systems all became popular improvements care residents wanted to incorporate in their homes. People finally understood that Vasile's innovations weren't expensive luxuries, they are practical solutions that could save money, increase comfort in normal conditions, while also providing security in emergency situations, explains local contractor Nicolae Rus, who began offering installations of similar systems pentru other village residents. Economic impact the crisis recovery also benefited the community approach that had developed in complex. Rather than each family struggling independently to restore their homes, she replaced damaged equipment, village organized collective purchasing pentru supplies, shared labor pentru reconstruction projects, she coordinated scheduling pentru limited repair services available in region. Recovery was faster, less expensive because people worked together rather than competing pentru limited resources services. Notes village accountant Maria Georgescu, care managed financial coordination pentru recovery efforts. Collective approach reduced costs pentru everyone. She ensured that vulnerable families received help they needed. Educational system in village also changed permanently as result the crisis experience. School curriculum was modified to include practical survival skills, community cooperation techniques, basic engineering pentru home-based sustainability systems. Children who had experienced community living in complex became advocates pentru these educational changes. Children who lived in complex had different perspective about learning community responsibility. Observes teacher Gheorghe Popescu. They understood importance the practical skills, valued the cooperation, in ways that couldn't be taught in normal classroom setting. Their enthusiasm influenced educational priorities pentru entire school. Religious community also evolved in response to crisis experience. Father Constantin organized new church programs, focusing on practical applications, the community care, stewardship the resources, moving beyond traditional emphasis on individual spirituality către collective responsibility pentru community welfare. Crisis showed that caring pentru neighbors in practical ways is essential part of the Christian living, preaches Father Constantin in post-crisis sermons. Vasile's generous sharing the shelter resources was perfect example of Christian love in action. Community's cooperation and survival was demonstration the spiritual community church should foster. Agricultural practices in village were also influenced by experience. Farmers began coordinating crop selection storage to ensure community food security, rather than focusing exclusively on cash crop production. Community storage facilities were planned pentru maintaining emergency food supplies, focus in preservation techniques demonstrated in Vasile's complex. Agriculture became community security issue rather than just individual business concern, explains agricultural cooperative leader Petru Moldovan. Farmers recognized responsibility pentru contributing la community resilience prin diverse crop production emergency storage capability. Media attention attracted către village during crisis continued după recovery, bringing positive recognition pentru community innovations cooperative spirit dezvolted in response către emergency. Articles documentaries about villages' survival strategy attracted tourists researchers interested in community resilience planning. Village became example pentru other rural communities that wanted to learn about emergency preparedness, community cooperation, pre-nowadays notes mayor's office. Tourism educational visits provided new economic opportunities while sharing knowledge could benefit other communities. Technical consultation requests also brought economic opportunities către village. Vasile began offering consulting services pentru communities individuals wanting to implement similar survival systems, while other villagers contributed expertise in construction, agriculture, community organization pentru projects in other locations. Experience in complex taught everyone practical skills that had market value in consulting education sectors, observes Vasile. Crisis that could have been economic disaster actually became foundation pentru new economic opportunities based p knowledge experience gained through survival challenge. Psychological impact, the survival experience, also had lasting positive effects pentru community mental health și social cohesion. People who had successfully cooperated in extreme circumstances developed confidence in their ability to handle future challenges. She maintained strong social bonds formed in crisis. Community that survived major crises together has different sense de collective capability și mutual trust, explains Dr. Elena Popescu, psychologist who studied village după crisis. People who experience successful cooperation in life-threatening situation maintain higher levels of social cohesion și civic engagement permanent. Family relationships were also strengthened by crisis experience. Parents și children who had relied pe each other pentru survival and shared space developed closer bonds. She extended families became more important sources de mutual support și assistance. Crisis reminded families că mutual dependence și cooperation are essential pentru security și happiness, reflects Maria Moldovan. Families that survived together in complex maintained closer relationships și better communication than before crisis. Most significant long-term change was că village developed reputation ca model community pentru rural resilience și emergency preparedness. Recognition attracted government funding pentru infrastructure improvements, educational programs pentru other communities și research partnerships cu universities studying community survival strategies. Village went then being unknown rural locations a recognized example de community resilience, summarizes Mayor Popescu. Crisis could have destroyed community actually made it stronger și more prominent than had ever been in history. Vasile's personal status strong community also changed permanently din eccentric outsider către respected community leader și technical innovator. His judgment was sought for all major community decisions și his experience was valued pentru planning future community development projects. Vasile went din being laughingstock satul village to being most respected resident whose opinion influences all community decisions, observes neighbor Ana Popescu. Experience proved că his thinking was far ahead of everyone else și că community benefits can listen to innovative ideas rather than dismissing them. Paragraful 10. Lecțiile învățate și moștenirea pentru viitor. 1 din 00 cuvinte. La un an după ziua în care prima furtună de iarnă, severity unprecedented, lovește satul Săliștea de Sus, Vasile Moldovan stătea în fața complexului său subteran, acum expandat și recognition official, ca centrul comunitar pentru situații de urgență Vasile Moldovan, watching cum delegate din dozens de communities din România și țări neighboring vizitau facility pentru a învăța despre community resilience și emergency preparedness innovations, care salvaseră vieți și transformed entirely o rural community. Nu anticipated niciodată când am început digging că modest underground shelter ar putea să become model pentru entire movement de community preparedness, reflects Vasile în discussion cu visitors din Germany care studied rural resilience strategies. Intended să protect doar family mea, dar learned că true security comes prin helping entire community achieve resilience. Expansions made la complex in year după crisis included additional chambers pentru accommodating larger groups, improved workshop facilities pentru teaching construction techniques către visitors, și museum section care documented survival experience și displayed innovations developed pentru community use. Government funding și donations din communities care adoptat similar systems supported toate improvements. Complex became not just emergency shelter, dar educational center care teaches practical skills pentru community survival și cooperation, explains Maria, care now manages visitor programs și educational activities. People come din entire Europe to learn about thermal storage heating, community organization pentru emergency și integration de traditional knowledge cu modern technology. Educational programs offered la site include hands-on training în construction techniques pentru efficient heating systems, workshops pe food preservation și storage, seminars pe community organization pentru emergency situations și demonstrations de sustainable living practices care reduce dependence pe external systems. Educational programs reach thousands of people annually va have influenced emergency planning in hundreds de communities, notes Dr. Patricia Schmidt din University pentru Rural Development Studies, who coordinates research partnerships cu Village. Impact extends far beyond local community către international community development practices. Technical innovations pioneered in complex have been scaled și adapted pentru implementation in various climates și community settings. Thermal storage heating systems optimized pentru different fuel types și climate conditions, earth tube ventilation systems designed pentru various soil types și community food storage systems adapted pentru different agricultural regions. Technical principles developed pentru complex are applicable in any climate care experiences extreme weather, explains engineering consultant hired by European Union să evaluate potențial pentru widespread implementation. Systems can be modified și scaled pentru communities ranging din Arctic conditions, geotropical areas prone to hurricanes sau extended drought periods. Government policies also were influenced by example settlement and community response către extreme weather emergency. National emergency management protocols now include guidelines pentru community-based survival centers, funding programs pentru local emergency infrastructure development și education requirements pentru community resilience planning. Village's experience demonstrated effectiveness de community-based approach către emergency management când external rescue services are unavailable, notes National Emergency Management Agency representative. Policies now encourage communities to develop local capabilities rather than depending exclusively on external assistance in crisis situations. Research studies conducted prin village experience have contributed la academic literature p community psychology, emergency management, sustainable technology, și rural development. Published articles și conference presentations have shared lessons learned cu international audience de researchers, policymakers și community development practitioners. Village has become case study taught in universities throughout Europe, explains Dr. Radu Popescu din Academy pentru Rural Development. Experience demonstrates value de traditional knowledge combined cu appropriate technology pentru creating sustainable communities care can thrive and face the modern challenges including climate change. Economic impact de recognition și tourism has transformed village economy din subsistence agriculture către diversified community, cu income streams din education, consulting, tourism și specialized craft production. Young people who might have migrated to urban areas now have economic opportunities in community development sector. Economic transformation allowed village to thrive rather than simply survive, observes economic development specialist who studied village's transition. Community went din poverty risk către sustainable prosperity prin capitalizing pe knowledge și experience gained in crisis situation. Personal transformation pentru Vasile has been equally significant. Din being ridiculed outsider, became recognized expert in community resilience whose advice is sought by government agencies, international development organizations, și academic institutions. Consulting work și speaking engagements have provided income care allows continued innovation și community service. Personal journey taught me că being right isn't enough, must also be patient și generous in helping others understand value de innovations, reflects Vasile. Criticism și ridicule were painful, dar surviving crisis together cu community created bonds și mutual respect care are much stronger than individual recognition. Spiritual impact they experience also influence community's approach către faith și community responsibility. Church services now regularly include prayers pentru community resilience și thanksgiving pentru mutual assistance, iar church programs focus pe practical applications de Christian community care. Crisis experience deepens spiritual understanding de interdependence și responsibility pentru caring pentru neighbors, observes Father Constantin. Community learned că faith is demonstrated prin practical preparation, helping others, și că trusting God includes using wisdom și skills că God provides pentru community protection. Family legacy pentru Vasile's children și grandchildren includes not just technical knowledge despre sustainable living systems, dar understanding despre community leadership, importance de preparation și foresight, și value de persevering cu important projects, despite criticism sau discouragement din others. Children learned că being different isn't necessarily wrong, și că sometimes most important contributions come in doing what others think is unnecessary sau ridiculous, explains Maria. Most valuable lesson is că community welfare requires individuals willing to take responsibility pentru preparing solutions către problems că others don't yet recognize. Long-term vision pentru village includes permanent role ca educational center pentru community resilience, ongoing research partnerships pentru developing appropriate technologies pentru rural communities, și continued innovation in sustainable community practices care can be shared with other communities facing similar challenges. Village's future is committed to sharing knowledge și helping other communities develop their own capabilities pentru surviving și thriving in uncertain times, concludes Major Popescu. Experience taught us că security comes prin helping others achieve security și că prosperity is sustainable only when is shared cu broader community. Final reflection pentru Vasile's extraordinary journey din ridiculed eccentric către community hero și international expert emphasizes importance de persistence in pursuing valuable innovations despite social pressure, să conform către conventional thinking. Most important lesson, concludes Vasile in his final interview pentru documentary about village's transformation, is că sometimes most valuable contributions require courage to be different și wisdom to prepare pentru challenges că others can't imagine. Community benefits când individuals are willing to invest in collective welfare, even when others don't understand value de such investments. True success is measured not by personal recognition, but by community's ability to thrive together and face any challenge. Underground complex saved lives, our community cooperation și mutual assistance care developed in crisis is what really ensures that all residents can face future with confidence și security.